Did you know that a penny, yes, a single penny, could make you a millionaire? No, I'm not talking about finding one on the ground that someone accidentally dropped while buying their morning coffee. I'm talking about the 1968 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, worth up to $1.6 million today. Sounds crazy, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the fascinating world of this rare coin that has some serious value. If you've ever thought that old pennies were just junk sitting in your jar, gathering dust, think again. The 1968 D penny, in particular, is one of those rare finds that can literally change your life. Stick around for the full breakdown, and I'll give you all the juicy details, including why this penny is so valuable, how to spot it, and what it could mean for your wallet. So, make sure to hit that subscribe button now so you don't miss out on any tips for finding hidden gems like this. Let's set the scene a little bit. We're talking about the 1968 D penny, minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mark. So, how did this humble penny end up being worth a small fortune? First, we need to understand a few things about coin values in general. Most pennies you find are worth, well, a penny. They're made in large quantities, and there's nothing too special about them. But sometimes, a rare coin can pop up that just happens to be that much more valuable. Now, the 1968 D penny is one of those rare exceptions. You might be wondering, what makes this penny so different from my regular pocket change? Great question. The main reason this coin has skyrocketed in value is because of a unique error that occurred during its minting. It was originally thought to be just another regular penny, but as time went on, collectors started to realize that there were some issues with how these pennies were produced. And by issues, I mean they were minted in such a way that they were considered to be extremely rare. Only a few survived the process. Some of these 1968 D pennies were struck in such a way that they have a double die error. This means the design was stamped twice, creating a double image on the coin. So it's technically a misprint, making it super valuable. This error is what pushes the coin's price into the hundreds of thousands, sometimes even reaching $1.6 million. Imagine that. One little penny, worth more than some houses. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was digging through a box of old coins I had inherited from my grandfather. Most of them were just the usual stuff. Old nickels, quarters, you name it. But there was this one old penny, all tarnished and worn, stuck in the corner. At first glance, I thought, just another penny. But for some reason, I thought, let's just take a closer look. Turns out, it wasn't a 1968 D penny, but the experience got me thinking about how many people might overlook a valuable coin just because it looks a little worn out. Sometimes, you have to dig a little deeper. Okay, so now you're probably wondering, how do I find a 1968 D penny in my own collection? Here's where the fun begins. To find a valuable penny, you need to look for specific features. First, check the D mint mark, which tells you the coin was minted in Denver. Then, you want to look for signs of the double die error. If the Lincoln Memorial or Abraham Lincoln's image appears doubled on the coin, congratulations, you've got a rare one. It's also important to remember that condition matters. A penny that's been tossed around, stepped on, or has been sitting in a jar for decades might not fetch the same value as one that's in near-mint condition. So, treat your coins like treasure. Keep them in a safe place, and don't just toss them into a bowl with your loose change. Now, you might be thinking, but how do I actually sell this penny? Who's going to buy it? The good news is, there's a huge market for rare coins like the 1968 D penny. Auction houses, collectors, and dealers are all on the lookout for coins with unique errors or historical significance. So, if you've got one, getting it appraised is your next step. And depending on its condition and rarity, you could be looking at a serious payday. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, great, I'm going to go dig through my piggy bank, find one of these pennies, and become a millionaire. But let's be real for a second. Finding a 1968 D penny with a double die error is like finding a needle in a haystack. You've got to get lucky, but hey, stranger things have happened. I mean, I once found a sock I thought I'd lost years ago. So if that's possible, why not find a $1 million penny? So, there you have it. The 1968 D Lincoln penny, worth up to $1.6 million if you get lucky with that double die error. If you're not checking your change right now, you're missing out. This is why it's so important to dig through those old coins you have lying around. Who knows? The next big find could be sitting in your pocket. Even if you don't find $1 million penny, there's a world of coins out there that could make you some extra cash. And I'm here to help you learn more about them. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the community, because I'll be sharing more tips, strategies, and stories about coins worth money. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and remember, keep your eyes open and your pennies too. Who knows, maybe the next one you find could make you rich. Do you have a penny lying around in your wallet or sitting at the bottom of your coin jar? Well, if it's a 1988 Abraham Lincoln penny without a mint mark, you might want to grab that thing and start treating it like a VIP. We're talking about a coin that's currently worth $1.7 million. Yup, you heard me right, $1.70 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. How on earth could a penny be worth so much? Stick around, because I'm about to take you on a wild, shiny ride into the world of rare coins, and trust me, it's going to be worth your while. The mystery of the 1988 no mint mark penny. All right, let's dive into this mystery like it's a treasure hunt. So, the 1988 penny, not just any penny. It looks like the normal pennies from the 1980s, but there's something off about it. For most coins, there's a little mint mark right there on the coin, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But the 1988 no mint mark penny? It's missing that little letter. And you know what they say, the less there is, the more it's worth. Okay, they don't really say that, but for this penny, it sure seems true. So why is this penny worth a whopping $1.7 million? Well, here's the thing. In 1988, the U.S. Mint was supposed to produce pennies only in their Denver and Philadelphia facilities. But somehow, no one really knows exactly how, a few pennies got out of the minting process without a mint mark. It's like that one sock that always disappears in the dryer. But for coins, it's worth millions instead of a trip to Goodwill. These pennies are extremely rare. We're talking crazy rare. There may only be a few of these coins out there. The ones that have been found, they're sitting in collections or in the hands of collectors willing to drop huge amounts of cash. The value is mostly based on rarity, and if you ever find one, well, my friend, you might want to start considering your retirement plans early. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. You've probably got a jar full of pennies, and you're just waiting for the moment when you become an instant millionaire. Here's where it gets interesting and a little funny. While the 1988 no mint mark penny might be the holy grail of pennies, don't expect every random coin in your collection to be worth $1.7 million. I mean, I found an old penny in my couch cushions the other day and thought I was sitting on a gold mine. Turned out to be a 1995, not-so-special penny. It was still worth a whole 1 cent. But you know what? That penny had sentimental value. Maybe. All right, probably not. Anyway, back to the coin market. If you're hunting for rare coins, it's not just about finding one random penny from the 80s. There are strategies to collecting rare coins and turning them into something more valuable. Coin collectors spend years studying these things, learning about mintage errors, unique markings, and how even the tiniest imperfections can make a huge difference in price. The coin jar discovery. Speaking of pennies, I once cleaned out my mom's coin jar, and believe me, it was a treasure chest of its own. I was on the hunt for any weird coins, and I stumbled upon a penny that looked a little off. It had a strange shine to it, like it had been through a time machine. I thought, this is it. I found the jackpot. I rushed to my computer, Googled the heck out of it, and came to the conclusion it was just a regular 2009 penny. No mint mark, no million-dollar value. It wasn't exactly a 1988 no mint mark penny, but hey, that disappointment was one for the books. So, I didn't get rich, but I did learn a valuable lesson about how to really hunt for rare coins. Turns out, it's all about being patient and paying attention to the details. If you're ever cleaning out an old coin jar, remember to keep an eye out for those little mistakes that can make all the difference. So, what's the takeaway here? Well, the 1988 no mint mark penny is an absolute treasure. If you find one, congratulations, you're sitting on something incredibly rare and valuable. But don't get too discouraged if you don't have a gold mine in your pocket. Coin hunting takes time, knowledge, and a bit of luck. You can start by looking through your own spare change, checking for mint marks, and spotting those small details that make all the difference. And if you want more tips on coins that could be worth a fortune, or if you want to learn how to spot those valuable little gems like a pro, hit that subscribe button. I'll be right here, bringing you more info, tips, and maybe a few hilarious coin-related fails along the way. Who knows? Maybe the next coin you pick up will be the one worth millions. Keep hunting, keep looking, and as always, keep your pennies close, but your million-dollar ones even closer. We're talking about something that might just blow your mind. A penny? Yes, a penny. From 2017 with a D mint mark that's worth a whopping $1.80 million. That's right. A penny that you probably tossed into a jar or a vending machine without a second thought could be the next big jackpot. I know, it sounds insane, but trust me, this one's the real deal. So, stick around as we break it all down. First things first, let's talk about the coin itself. The 2017 D Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, you might be thinking, a penny? How could a penny be worth more than a cup of overpriced coffee? Well, here's the deal. It's all about the rarity, my friends. This isn't just any regular penny. It has something special that makes it incredibly rare. It has a mistake, a minting error, that sent it straight into the realm of ultra-valuable coins. So, how do you spot this little treasure? Well, the key here is the demint mark. It's not a huge deal usually, but this one has a specific error that makes it stand out. And because it was only a small batch of these pennies that were made with this mistake, it's a true gem. These rare coins can go for as much as $1.8 million if you have the right one. Alright, let's rewind a little. I'm sure you're all wondering how this penny could be worth so much. Well, just like rare baseball cards or vintage vinyl records, rare coins with mistakes get snatched up by collectors who are willing to pay big bucks for them. In the case of the 2017 D penny, the error involved something in the minting process that caused it to be misstruck, making it significantly more valuable. But let me pause right there for a sec and share a quick story from my own coin hunting adventures. A couple of years ago, I was going through a box of old change that I had randomly thrown into a drawer. Just like many of you, I thought I was looking at a bunch of junk. Nothing special, just the usual assortment of pennies, nickels, and dimes. But then, I stumbled upon a coin that looked different. It wasn't much at first glance, but it had this unique, almost weird look to it. Long story short, that coin ended up being worth around $150. I almost threw it out thinking it was just a dirty, worn-down penny. Now, I've learned to always take a closer look before I call it just a penny. Moral of the story? Don't be too quick to dismiss your coins, especially when it comes to something like the 2017 D Lincoln penny. Because if you have one of these rare coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Now, let's break it down. What exactly makes this penny so valuable? The error that occurred during minting happened because of a die crack. What that means is the die used to stamp the coins had a small flaw. The result? A distinctive marking that collectors and investors love to see. And since not many of these coins exist with this mistake, it's considered a rare find. Hence the $1.8 million price tag. If you're wondering how to spot this error, here's a pro tip. The die crack runs along the coin's rim, often showing up as a noticeable crack or a missing piece. But here's the kicker. These coins are so rare that even finding one in decent condition is like winning the lottery. It's why some of these have gone for such high prices. Now, you might be thinking, well, this is all good and fun, but where do I even look for one of these pennies? Well, you're in luck. The 2017 D penny with this error was circulated. So it could be in your pocket, your piggy bank, or sitting at the bottom of your couch cushions right now. So, don't throw away any 2017 pennies with the D mint mark. You just might have a gold mine hiding in plain sight. And here's another fun fact. You might think that only well-preserved coins with no wear and tear are worth big bucks, but surprisingly, even some that are a little worn or dirty can still carry a significant value if they've got the right minting error. So don't get discouraged if your penny is a bit roughed up. Sometimes, that only adds to its charm. Alright, coin lovers, we've covered a lot today. From the rare 2017 D Abraham Lincoln penny to how to spot a potential $1.8 million treasure in your change jar. Now, I know some of you are probably rushing to dig through your spare change right now, hoping you'll find a penny that'll make you rich. And while I can't guarantee you'll strike gold today, remember that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. So here's the deal. If you've enjoyed this little dive into the world of rare coins and you want more tips, tricks, and stories like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss out on future tips on coins worth money, strategies for building your collection, and maybe even a few more tales of my own coin hunting adventures. Don't forget to like this video if you learned something new today. And if you happen to find one of those 2017 D pennies, I'll take a small finder's fee. Just kidding. But seriously, drop a comment below if you found a cool coin or have any questions about coin collecting. Let's keep the conversation going. You know that little penny you've probably got stashed in your couch cushions? The one you keep finding every time you do laundry, or the one that's been collecting dust in your junk drawer? Well, hold on to your hats because that coin could be worth more than you ever imagined. Yes, I'm talking about the 2016 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like just another penny, right? Wrong. It might be worth upwards of $1.9 million today. Yeah, you heard me. A penny. Worth a fortune. Stick with me as I dive into why this seemingly tiny coin is causing such a big buzz and how you can find it among your own coins. Who knows? You could be the next lucky penny millionaire. Let's break this down. First, we need to talk about the coin itself. The 2016 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, if you've seen a penny from 2016, you probably didn't give it a second thought. It's got that classic Lincoln design on one side, and the reverse side features the familiar shield. But here's where things get interesting. The 2016 D Mint Mark penny isn't just another face in the crowd. It's a bit of a celebrity in the coin world. Why? Well, there's something special about a very small batch of them. And when I say small, I mean small. So, here's the deal. In 2016, the Denver Mint struck a small number of pennies that were slightly misprinted, creating a variety with some serious rarities. And if you happen to have one of those misprinted coins, bam, you could be holding on to $1 million ticket, my friend. I know, you're probably wondering, what's so special about these pennies? Well, it's all about the error. These coins didn't meet the standard production specifications, so they didn't end up looking like the rest. Some of them were double-struck, while others had design flaws that made them stand out. Out of the tens of millions of pennies struck that year, only a handful of these error coins made it into circulation. So, if you happen to find one, you're holding a tiny piece of history. It actually reminds me of a time when I was going through a box of old change I found in my attic. There I was, sorting through pennies, dimes, and nickels, thinking I'd find nothing of value, until I stumbled upon this weird-looking penny from the 1980s. Now, it wasn't a 2016 D Mint Mark, but it had a funky, off-center strike. I was about to toss it into the not-worth-anything pile when I remembered some coin tips I'd seen online. Long story short, that little penny turned out to be worth a couple $100 because of the error. Who knew, right? So now, every time I find a weird penny, I make sure to give it a second look. And let me tell you, I don't just give up on anything with a funny mark or uneven strike anymore. So, how do you know if your 2016 D penny is the one worth nearly $2 million? Well, you've got to pay attention to the details. First, check for the D Mint mark, which indicates it was struck in Denver. Next, inspect the coin carefully for any signs of misprints, like double strikes, overstrikes, or odd design features. If you think you've found something, the next step is to get it professionally appraised to confirm its authenticity and value. Now, while finding one of these million-dollar pennies is like hitting the jackpot, it's not impossible. And don't worry if you don't find one today or tomorrow. The coin market is a bit like treasure hunting. You've got to be persistent, patient, and always keep an eye out for the rare finds. And don't get discouraged if your pennies aren't worth millions. There are still plenty of other coins out there that could have some hidden value. Heck, you'd be surprised how many people have uncovered rare finds in their change jars, old piggy banks, or even at garage sales. Alright, so now you know why that 2016 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a small fortune, and how you can spot a rare coin that might just be your ticket to a big payday. But here's the thing. Most of us don't just stumble upon rare coins every day. You've got to be on the lookout, and you've got to know where to look. And that's where I come in. If you found this video helpful, do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips on coins worth money, strategies for finding rare treasures, and stories that'll make you see your spare change in a whole new light. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. So, make sure you're subscribed, and who knows, maybe the next penny you pick up could make you rich. I'm about to tell you about a penny that might just make you look at that pocket change in a whole new light. You might even find yourself diving headfirst into your couch cushions after this. You see, the 2006 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, yes, that little copper coin, has been making waves in the coin collecting world, and not just for a few bucks either. It's gone from a humble pocket change item to a coin worth a whopping $2 million. I know, you're probably thinking, did I hear that right? Stick with me for a minute because we're about to break down why this tiny penny is pulling in such an eye-popping price. So grab your magnifying glass and let's dive into the world of rare coins. You might just find that your next treasure is hiding in your loose change. Alright, so let's set the scene here. We're talking about the 2006 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, if you've been collecting coins or just occasionally glance at the coins in your pocket, you might know that most pennies are, well, pretty standard. But not this one. The 2006 penny, minted at the Denver Mint, started out as just another run-of-the-mill coin. But here's where it gets interesting. There was a rare, mysterious error in some of the coins that were struck that year. And when I say error, I mean a big one. This particular mistake involved a misalignment in the die, which created a penny with a unique and unmistakable design flaw. Now, let's be clear. Not every 2006 penny is worth millions. Only a small handful of these error pennies made it into circulation, and even fewer have survived in pristine condition. So, what makes these error pennies so valuable? It's all about the rarity and the uniqueness of the mistake. You see, most people get confused and assume that rare coins are just coins from a long time ago. But no, sometimes it's all about the misprints, the blunders that happen when the US Mint is cranking out coins at full speed. And believe me, a tiny mistake can make a big difference when it comes to value. But here's the kicker. Those error pennies from 2006? They're not just worth a few extra cents or dollars. We're talking $2 million. Yes, you heard me correctly, $2 million bucks. That's not a typo. Now, don't go digging through your old coin jar just yet. Finding one of these rare coins isn't exactly like finding a $2 bill in your wallet. But hey, stranger things have happened, right? Like that time I found a random potato chip in the shape of a state and sold it for 10 bucks on eBay. If I can find a random shaped chip, you can certainly find a rare penny. But seriously, the way this penny's market value has skyrocketed is fascinating. I mean, think about it. A single penny, one that you might have tossed into a wishing well or thrown into the bottom of your junk drawer, now worth a small fortune. And it's not just about the money. It's about being part of something that makes you feel like you're in an exclusive club. It's like when you find out that your childhood comic book collection is actually worth more than your car. It's an awesome feeling, right? Now, the key to knowing whether you've got a real treasure on your hands is examining the coin. You need to look at the details. If your 2006 penny has the right kind of flaw, like a double die or a strange misprint, it might be one of those rare ones. And if the coin is in mint condition, well, your chances of striking it rich just went up. But here's the thing. Don't go taking your coin to just any appraiser or random coin dealer. You want to find someone who knows their stuff, someone who can give you an honest evaluation. Because, just like with anything valuable, there are a lot of fakes out there. Trust me, I've learned that the hard way. Once, I bought a rare coin from an online auction that turned out to be nothing but a shiny piece of chocolate. I was so upset, I almost ate the evidence out of frustration. Now, getting back to our $2 million penny. If you think you've found one, don't just throw it in your pocket and forget about it. Get it authenticated. Get it graded. A penny in top-notch condition will always be worth more. And there's no harm in taking that extra step. So, let's recap. The 2006 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a rare gem in the world of coins. Some of these pennies have an error that makes them worth up to $2 million. If you've got one in your collection, congratulations, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. But even if you don't give up on the idea of treasure hunting. There are plenty of other valuable coins floating around in circulation right now. Who knows? Your next penny might just be the one to make you a millionaire. Before you go hunting for pennies, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips on how to spot valuable coins, how to get them appraised, and all kinds of strategies for building your collection into something worth bragging about. You never know, your next big find could be just a click away. So, don't forget, subscribe, drop a like, and leave me a comment telling me about any rare coins you found. You're digging through a jar of old pennies you've had sitting in your desk drawer for years, and you find something that catches your eye. A 1978 penny. Nothing special here, you might think, tossing it aside. But what if I told you that exact penny, in the right condition, could be worth a whopping $2.1 million? Yes, you heard that right, million with an M. What kind of wizardry is this? Well, stick around because today, we're going to dive into the fascinating world of the 1978 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and you might just walk away with a new appreciation for your spare change. First, let's talk about the basics. Most of us are used to seeing pennies with a mint mark, that tiny little letter on the coin that indicates where it was made. In 1978, though, something interesting happened. The U.S. Mint produced a batch of Lincoln pennies without a mint mark. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen. Pennies were typically stamped with a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But a small, rare batch was accidentally left off the mint mark, and suddenly, these pennies became highly sought after. It's just a penny, right? Well, here's where the magic comes in. You see, the 1978 no-mint mark penny is one of those coins that collectors lose their minds over. It's rare, it's unique, and in perfect condition. It can fetch a price that'll make you do a double take. And I'm not talking about a few $100, folks. We're talking about $2.10 million. How does something so small and seemingly insignificant become so valuable? Well, it all comes down to scarcity, demand, and condition. A coin that's rare but in high demand can skyrocket in value, especially if it's in mint condition. The 1978 no-mint mark penny is a prime example of this. But let me give you a personal story to illustrate just how important condition is. A few years ago, I found a coin in my collection that I thought was pretty cool. It was a 1978 penny, and it didn't have a mint mark. I was super excited and thought, hey, maybe I've got a gold mine here. So I rushed to a local coin dealer to get it appraised. When the dealer looked at it, he practically sighed and said, well, it's a 1978 no mint mark, but it's in terrible condition. It's all scratched up, and it looks like it's been through a battle with a washing machine. At first, I was devastated. I thought I had found a treasure, only to realize that my penny wasn't quite up to par. So here's the lesson. Condition is everything. If your 1978 penny has been through a few too many pockets and is covered in grime or scratches, it's not going to be worth nearly as much. But if it's in near-perfect shape, that's when the magic happens, and your penny could be worth millions. So, how can you tell if your penny is one of the lucky ones? First, check the details. The 1978 no-mint mark penny should be shiny and crisp. It'll have clear lines and a strong image of Abraham Lincoln. If it looks like it's been through a rough ride, you might want to hold off on making any big plans for your newfound fortune. But if it's pristine, congrats. You could be sitting on a small fortune. And just in case you're wondering, how do you know if you've got the real deal? Well, there's a simple trick. Get a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Check the reverse side for any signs of a mint mark. If there's nothing there, and the coin looks like it was made yesterday, you might have something special. Of course, you can always take it to a professional for an appraisal to make sure you're not getting your hopes up for nothing. Now, I know finding a penny worth $2.1 million isn't something that happens every day, but it just goes to show that sometimes, the most unlikely places hold hidden treasures. Your penny jar could be a gold mine, or should I say, copper mine? So, before you throw away that old change in your pockets, take a second to look at what you've got. You never know what rare gems are hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you want to stay ahead of the game and discover more coins worth money, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips, strategies, and cool stories to help you become a coin collecting pro. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, the next time you find a penny, take a moment. It could be worth more than you think. All right, folks, we need to talk about a penny. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. But not just any penny. This one has a twist. It's worth a whopping $2.1 million. A penny. Can you believe it? I'm not pulling your leg here. Stick around, and I'll tell you exactly why this little copper coin could change your life. Now, when I say penny, what comes to mind? Probably that sad, lonely little copper coin at the bottom of your wallet, just taking up space. You know, the one you toss in the jar next to your couch. I mean, let's be honest, who's getting rich off a penny, right? But wait, let's hit pause on that thought. Because if you have a 1972 penny in your pocket with a very specific feature, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Most of these pennies were minted with a little D for Denver, or a S for San Francisco. But some sneaky pennies were made without a mint mark at all. That's right, a 1972 penny with no mint mark could be worth over $2 million. You heard me right. It's like finding a golden ticket in your wallet. Except, instead of candy, you get a fortune. How could I have missed this? Trust me, I've been there. I'll get into a personal story about that in a sec. But first, let's break down what makes this penny so special. The reason the 1972 no mint mark penny is so valuable is because it's incredibly rare. It's an error coin, which means it wasn't supposed to exist. So, imagine the number of regular pennies minted in 1972, and then picture a tiny, tiny fraction of those pennies coming out with no mint mark. That's why collectors go crazy for these things. It's like a coin version of a hidden treasure. Okay, so I have to admit, I used to not pay much attention to pennies. In fact, I tossed them into my drawer, barely giving them a second thought. But one day, I got curious and started looking into coin collecting. And wouldn't you know it, I found out about the 1972 no mint mark penny. I was digging through my change, pulling out pennies left and right, like a kid in a candy store. I swear, I found at least 5 pennies in my couch cushions, but none of them were the one I was looking for. I tell ya, I was ready to start my own treasure hunt reality show with all the pennies I was hoarding. But eventually, I found out that there was a catch. Most of these rare pennies end up in the hands of seasoned collectors, auction houses, or, well, people who just happen to get lucky. And it wasn't me. But that doesn't mean it can't be you. Alright, now let's talk about how you can spot this elusive penny in your own collection. First things first, no mint mark. That's the easiest way to tell if you've got one of these bad boys. You'll need to check the back of the penny, right under Abraham Lincoln's chin. Normally, you'd see a D for Denver or S for San Francisco. If you don't see anything, congratulations, you might have a gem on your hands. Also, look closely at the coin's condition. The better the condition, the more valuable it is. If yours has scratches, dirt, or heavy wear, it's going to be worth way less than a penny in mint condition. Now, you might be wondering, how much are these things actually selling for? Well, in 2018, a 1972 no mint mark penny in mint condition sold for over $2 million. Yep, you read that right. $2 million. Can you imagine? I was joking around with my buddy that I'd sell one of those for enough to retire on the spot. Sadly, no luck on my end. But hey, if you find one, it could totally be your ticket to living your best life. And look, it's not like you have to spend years hunting through coins like a professional treasure hunter. You just have to know what to look for and maybe check your spare change every now and then. That's it. And you know, this story is just one example of how rare coins like the 1972 no mint mark penny can hold crazy value. So, if you love the idea of finding hidden treasures, or you just like learning about cool coins that might be worth something, this channel is where you want to be. So, there you have it. A little penny that could be a big deal. If you ever find a 1972 no mint mark penny, or you've got any other cool coins hiding in your collection, don't just toss them aside. You never know. You might have the next $1 million coin on your hands. And hey, if you want more tips on rare coins, how to spot valuable ones, or just some fun facts about the crazy world of numismatics, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what I've got coming up next. You could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video, where I'll probably be hunting for even more coins that could change my life. I've got something pretty wild for you. Something you might find hiding in your pocket or loose change jar. Yeah, I'm talking about that classic 1973 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. You know, the kind of coin that looks so ordinary, you'd be forgiven for tossing it into a wishing well. Except you'd be wishing you didn't after hearing this story. Stick around, because that little penny could be worth, wait for it, a whopping $2.3 million. That's right, $2.3 million. Yeah, I know, it sounds insane, but you're going to want to hear the full story, and trust me, you might want to check your change after this one. Let's break it down a bit. We're talking about a 1973 penny made by the US Mint. The catch? It doesn't have the mint mark. Normally, you'd find a mint mark on a coin, indicating where it was made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But this particular 1973 penny? No mint mark. At first glance, it seems like nothing special. But turns out, it's a pretty major mistake by the mint, and it's a mistake that collectors are still hunting for today. So, how did this mistake happen? Well, there's a lot of speculation. People think it might have been a problem during the production process, or maybe a few rogue pennies slipped through the cracks. Now, if you're thinking, but I've got a 1973 penny in my pocket right now. I've had it for years. Does that mean I'm sitting on a small fortune? Maybe. But before you run to the bank to deposit your future mansion, let's talk about how you can spot the valuable ones. The most important part of these rare pennies is that they were minted without the mint mark. They weren't supposed to exist, but they did. There are only a few that were ever discovered, and that rarity is exactly why they've shot up in value. So, if you happen to have one of these bad boys, your penny might not be worth just 1 cent. In fact, it could be worth hundreds of thousands or, in rare cases, millions. Now, let's talk about how to spot these rare gems in the wild. The first thing to check is the date, 1973. That's your base. But the second thing to focus on? The mint mark, or lack thereof. If there's no mint mark, and the penny is in relatively good condition, you might just have yourself a potential gold mine. But hold on, don't go running to an auction house just yet. Condition is everything. A penny that's been used and abused won't fetch the same price as a mint condition piece that's barely seen the light of day. And here's the funny part. I actually found a coin like this once. No, it wasn't worth millions. I didn't get that lucky, sadly. But I thought I had a rare coin at first. I found it in my grandmother's coin jar one day, right next to a ton of other old pennies, and I swear, it felt like the jackpot. I remember calling up my friend, who's a big coin collector, and saying, "I think I found a rare one." He told me to hold on to it, probably as a just-in-case scenario. Long story short, it turned out to be just a regular old penny. Still, I keep it in my collection, just as a reminder to always double-check my finds. The crazy part? There are still people who make this same mistake, only they end up finding the real deal. So here's a quick tip. Before you toss that penny back into circulation, do a little research. Sometimes, that random penny could be worth a whole lot more than just a cent. Another important thing to remember is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach to determining value. The more rare the coin, the more likely it will be to fetch that outrageous price. So, if you do have a 1973 penny with no mint mark, I'd suggest getting it appraised by a professional. It might be worth that $2.3 million or not, but it'll certainly be worth knowing. Okay, let's wrap this up. What's the takeaway here? First of all, don't just brush off your loose change. That random penny you toss into a jar might be hiding some serious value. A 1973 Lincoln penny with no mint mark could fetch a hefty price on the market, especially if it's in good condition. If you're someone who's into coin collecting or just interested in making a little extra cash, don't let this slip by. Check your pennies, check your quarters, heck, check your nickels. You never know what kind of treasures are out there. If you love hearing stories like this, want more tips on coin collecting, and want to make sure you're never missing out on rare finds again, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more tricks up my sleeve, and I'll be sharing them with you soon. Don't miss out, because who knows? Your next coin could be worth a small fortune. You might be sitting on a small fortune and not even know it. It's time to take a closer look at that 1976 D mint mark penny you've probably got lying around. Why? Because this little copper piece could potentially be worth, wait for it, $2.4 million? Yes, you heard me right, million. So, stick around because today we're diving into what makes that seemingly ordinary penny so extraordinary. and why you should check your change with a little more attention. Now, you might be thinking, how in the world is a 1976 penny worth that much? That's a legit question. Let me take you back to the 1970s. America was rocking disco balls, bell-bottoms, and of course, the bicentennial celebrations. The year 1976 marked 200 years of American independence, and the U.S. Mint was all about commemorating that. They made a special series of coins, but here's the kicker. The 1976 D-penny was not supposed to be rare, but somehow it became extremely rare. So, what happened? Long story short, there was a major mix-up during production. The 1976 D-Mint mark pennies were supposed to have a certain design. Instead, a tiny number of them got a misstruck design. The result? An error penny that is now worth a ridiculous amount of money, like $2.4 million kind of money. And this wasn't some big announcement or media blitz. The coin's true value only really started getting noticed by collectors in the last few years. Okay, I know what you're thinking. So, how do I know if my 1976 D-penny is worth $2.4 million? Well, it's all about the error. These pennies have a variety of characteristics that make them unique, and it's not just about the year or mint mark. There's a specific flaw in the die, the tool used to strike the coin, that created the misstruck penny. But the real moneymaker here? It's in the condition. The higher the grade, the more your coin could be worth. If you've got a pristine, uncirculated version, you could be staring at a pretty nice payday. Here's where the fun part begins. How do you spot a rare 1976 D-penny? First, you need to examine it carefully. Look for any unusual marks or misshaped areas on the coin. Sometimes, these pennies might look a little off-center, or the details could be a bit softer than usual. If it looks like a regular 1976 penny, it's probably not the one you're looking for. But hey, don't give up hope. A lot of people don't even know their pennies could be worth anything, so they toss them back into circulation, and that's when you get a lucky break. Let me tell you a little story about my own experience. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale and stumbled upon a jar of loose change for like $5. There were all kinds of coins, quarters, dimes, nickels, and yes, plenty of pennies. I bought it just for fun, thinking maybe I'd find a cool old coin or two. Well, wouldn't you know it, buried in the bottom of that jar was a 1976 D-penny with a strange look. At first, I thought, meh, just another penny. But then I got curious and started researching. Turns out it was a rare one. And it wasn't worth $2.4 million like this one, but it was definitely worth way more than my $5 investment. Moral of the story: you just never know what you might have sitting around, and it can't hurt to take a closer look. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I even sell my rare coin? Well, that's where the fun begins too. There are plenty of auction houses, online marketplaces, and coin dealers who specialize in rare finds like this. If you happen to think you've got a real winner on your hands, definitely get it professionally graded. A professional appraiser can determine the exact value of your coin, and a proper grade can make a huge difference in how much you get when you sell it. Just be cautious. There's always a chance you could get a less than honest dealer, so be sure to shop around. And here's the thing, even if your 1976 D-penny turns out to be a dud, don't be discouraged. Coin collecting is an awesome hobby. It's fun, it's educational, and it's one of those rare hobbies where you might actually make money. Plus, you learn a lot about history along the way. Maybe you don't get a $2.4 million coin today, but you could still score something valuable down the line. There's always another hidden treasure out there waiting for you. Alright, now you're officially on the lookout for that golden, or should I say copper, ticket of pennies. Don't just toss your change in a jar anymore. Take a closer look at your coins and see if you've got a gem hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for hunting down rare finds, or just cool coin stories to brighten your day, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what I've got coming up next. Who knows, the next coin I talk about might just make you a millionaire. Have you ever stared at a penny, wondering if it's worth more than just its 1 cent? Well, grab your magnifying glasses and hold on to your wallets, because today, we're diving into a penny that's worth a whole lot more than you might think. We're talking about the 2014 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, worth, drumroll, a whopping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be checking your change a little more closely. So, what makes this penny so special? I mean, we all know pennies. They're the little guys you find stuck in the couch cushions or under your car seat. But the 2014 D Lincoln penny? This one's a legend in the making. First off, the 2014 D Mint Mark penny was produced by the Denver Mint. At first glance, it might look like your regular Abraham Lincoln penny. You've got Honest Abe, his familiar face, sitting there as usual, looking very serious about being on your lunch tray. But here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies were accidentally minted with a huge flaw. We're talking a double die error, which means the coin was struck twice with the design, making it look like it's got some extra depth and detail, especially on Abe's face and the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Now, here's where the fun begins. Coin collectors are obsessed with errors like these. A double die error might sound like a mistake, but in the coin world, it's like finding a rare Pokemon card. You might have 100 regular pennies in your pocket, but that one with the double die error? It could be worth a fortune. And we're talking big bucks. How big? Well, this particular 2014 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny was recently sold for a staggering $1.8 million. Let that sink in for a second. That's a whole lot of pennies. It was found by an eagle-eyed collector who knew what to look for, and boy, did they hit the jackpot. Imagine you just bought a cup of coffee, and now you're a millionaire because of one little penny. That's not a bad day, huh? You're probably asking, how do I know if I've got one of these golden tickets in my pocket? Well, my friend, it's all about inspection. You need to take a good look at your pennies, especially 2014 D Mint Mark ones. What you're looking for is a blurry, doubled image on the front of the coin. If you spot that extra detail, that's a major sign you're holding onto something special. It's like finding an Easter egg in your change jar, except this egg is worth more than your entire grocery bill. Now, if you're wondering how rare these double die errors are, let me tell you, they are not easy to come by. But that doesn't mean you should give up hope. I once found a 1998 penny in my change jar that had a slight misprint. Was it worth $1 million? Not quite. But it made me feel like a coin detective, and that was cool enough. And hey, I still keep it in my collection to this day. I'm not giving up on it just yet. Here's a little reality check, though. Not every 2014 D penny you find is going to be worth $1.8 million. In fact, most of them won't be. The odds of finding a penny with a double die error are slim, and you probably won't find one at your local convenience store. But that doesn't mean you should stop looking. Think of it like treasure hunting. Most people won't find the buried gold, but that's not going to stop the real explorers from trying. And who knows, your next trip to the bank or the grocery store might just turn up a winner. So, you want to get serious about coin collecting? It's not just about finding a $1.8 million penny. There's a whole world of coins out there, and some of them can be worth big money too. Here's my tip. Start with the basics. Check your change, examine your pocket lint for hidden treasures, and learn to spot errors in circulation. Educate yourself on rare coins, and you can start building a collection that might eventually pay off in ways you didn't expect. So, there you have it, folks. One little penny with a big price tag. The 2014 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny with a double die error could just make you a millionaire. Or at least start you on your journey toward discovering some seriously rare coins. Keep your eyes peeled and don't let any penny slip by without giving it a second look. And before you head out to check your coin jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more coin tips and tricks coming your way. Who knows, next time you're watching, we might be talking about the next big find. Join the community of fellow coin lovers, and let's keep this treasure hunt going together. Hold on to your change jars because what I'm about to tell you will make you look at every penny in your wallet in a totally new way. Imagine walking around with a coin in your pocket worth nearly $2 million. That's right, I'm talking about the 2016 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that could put a massive dent in your student loans or fund your next vacation to the Bahamas. But before you grab all your pennies and start searching frantically, let's break down why this coin is so valuable, what makes it so rare, and how you can spot one in your collection. Now, if you're new to the world of rare coins, you might be thinking, a penny? Worth $1.9 million? That sounds like something my grandma would say to mess with me. But no, this is the real deal, folks. Stick with me as we dive into the story of this little copper coin that could Alright, let's rewind to 2016. The US Mint, in its infinite wisdom, decided to make a few pennies without the mint mark. For most of us, that doesn't seem like a big deal, right? I mean, who's gonna notice a tiny mint mark or lack thereof on a penny? But here's where it gets interesting, because apparently someone noticed, and that someone might have just hit the jackpot. So, most pennies have a mint mark on them, usually under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder. It's a tiny letter, either D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 2016, there were a few pennies that slipped through the cracks, literally, without any mint mark at all. Think of it like a rare Pokemon. Hard to find, but worth a lot once you do. Now, you're probably wondering, why is this such a big deal? The US Mint is pretty meticulous about their production process. They usually have quality control checks, and not having a mint mark was a big mistake. Like forgetting to put the lid on your coffee mug before a Zoom call. And like any good mistake, people started to notice. Coin collectors and dealers began to realize just how rare these 2016 no-mint mark pennies really were. Some smart cookie decided to auction one, and guess what? It sold for a mind-blowing $1.9 million. Yep, I'm not kidding. A freaking penny. It's like finding a rare baseball card in your attic and selling it for enough to buy a house. But don't start sifting through your penny jar just yet. It's not like every 2016 penny is worth millions. In fact, the one that sold for nearly $2 million had a perfect grade, meaning it was in flawless condition. Most of the pennies without mint marks that you'll find will probably be, well, less impressive. But that doesn't mean you should toss out your pennies. In fact, if you've got a 2016 penny without a mint mark, it's worth taking a second look. It could be worth hundreds, thousands, or if you're super lucky, millions. But here's the kicker. If your penny's been sitting at the bottom of your pocket for a year, it's probably not in perfect condition. Still, you never know. There's always a chance. So, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a coin shop, just casually browsing through a bucket of old pennies. I was sifting through them like I was panning for gold when the owner says, "You never know what you might find." I rolled my eyes and said, "Yeah, sure, just a bunch of old pennies." But you know what happened next? I found a 1943 steel penny in great condition, worth about $100. That's not nearly as exciting as $1.9 million, but it was enough to make me do a double take. If I hadn't spent that extra minute checking, I would have missed out on the discovery. Moral of the story? Always check your coins, because you just never know. Now, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 2016 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it aside. It might not be worth millions, but it could still be worth something, and worth a quick look under a magnifying glass or by a professional. You never know what hidden treasures are sitting in your coin jar. And hey, if you found this video useful, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more tips, tricks, and hidden coin treasures. I've got more tips coming your way, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's next. Plus, I promise I won't just talk about pennies. I've got tons of cool coin stories to share. So, hit subscribe, and let's turn your spare change into something worth talking about. Stop right where you are, because I'm about to tell you something so wild. You'll want to dig through your piggy bank, your couch cushions, or even your grandma's old coin jar. What if I told you that a penny from 1973, the one you probably found in your junk drawer, could be worth a whopping $1 million? Yeah, you heard me right. $1,000,000 for a tiny copper coin. Stick around, because I'm about to show you how that little 1973 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny can make you a fortune. Now, you might be thinking, is this guy for real? Trust me, I wouldn't be wasting your time. There's some crazy stuff happening in the world of coin collecting, and this little penny is right in the middle of it. So let's dive in and figure out how to find this rare gem that could change your life. Ready? Alright, first things first, let's break down this whole 1973 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny mystery. You might be thinking, a penny is just a penny, right? But hold on, there's way more to it than that. Not all 1973 pennies are created equal. The ones you're looking for have to have that D mint mark on them. That's the mint mark from the Denver Mint, which is where a small portion of pennies were made in 1973. And while most of these pennies are, well, just pennies, a few of them have a rare variety that could make them worth $1 million. What's so special about these pennies? Aren't they just like made of copper? Great question. Here's the twist. The $1 million 1973 penny has a unique error that makes it super valuable. The error involves something like an off-center strike, doubling, or some other minting mistake that only a few lucky pennies escaped with. These errors are what collectors are after, and they can drive prices through the roof. We're talking $1 million for one penny. Seriously. Okay, so now that you know these pennies can be worth a ton, let's talk about how to spot the $1 million one. It's all in the details, my friend. First, take a good look at the coin. Does it have any weird errors? Maybe the image of Lincoln's face is blurry or there's a weird doubling effect on the lettering. That's what you're looking for. And trust me, this kind of stuff is hard to miss once you know what to look for. And you don't need a magnifying glass to spot some of these errors. A good bright light and a steady hand should do the trick. Take a peek at the edge of the coin, too. Sometimes these rare pennies have off-center strikes, where the image of Lincoln or the date doesn't line up correctly. If you find one of these beauties, then congratulations. You might just have a rare, valuable penny in your hand. Let me tell you, I wasn't always into coin hunting. In fact, I used to just toss coins around without giving them a second thought. But one day, I'm at a garage sale, just picking through the typical stuff, old VHS tapes and mismatched cups, and I see this little bowl full of pennies. I'm talking about all kinds of pennies, most of them looking like they'd been through a few decades of tough living. I almost passed it up, just another jar of junk, right? But something told me to take a closer look. I started sifting through those pennies, and boom, there it was. A 1973 penny with an odd strike. It wasn't perfect, but I immediately knew it wasn't your typical run-of-the-mill coin. My heart started racing, and for a second, I thought I had hit the jackpot. I rushed home, took a few close-up photos, and did some research. Turns out, that penny wasn't worth $1 million, unfortunately, but it was still pretty valuable. That moment sparked a serious interest in coin collecting for me. I realized there's money in these tiny pieces of metal, and all you need is a little patience and knowledge to find them. If you find a 1973 penny with a minting error, it could be worth a lot of money, and I mean a lot. But not every penny from 1973 is going to bring in the big bucks. You're going to need to check for things like off-center strikes, double lettering, or even a filled die where the minting press doesn't fully strike the coin. There are guides and experts who can help you determine whether your coin is a winner or just a regular penny. But once you know what to look for, the fun part is the hunt. And hey, even if you don't find $1 million coin, don't be discouraged. The world of coin collecting is filled with hidden treasures, and just about any coin that's rare or in good condition can fetch a good price. So whether it's a 1973 penny or something older, don't toss those coins out. Take a second look, because you never know what you might find at us. Oh, my fellow coin enthusiasts, there you have it. The scoop on the 1973 mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny and how it could make you $1 million richer. I'm all about finding those hidden gems, whether they're in a garage sale box or in your own collection. Coin hunting is fun, rewarding, and hey, it's a great way to make some extra cash. Just remember to keep your eyes peeled for those minting errors. Who knows? Maybe the next $1 million penny is sitting in your coin jar right now. Before you go, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if you want more tips on coins worth money. I've got plenty of tips, tricks, and stories to share, and you won't want to miss any of them. Plus, I'd love to hear about any cool coins you've found in the comments below. Got a rare coin? Tell me all about it. I'm all ears. Are you sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it? Or perhaps you've got a dusty old penny floating around somewhere in your change jar, just begging for a second look. Well, today, I've got a story that will make you want to go through every piece of loose change you've got. We're talking about a single penny, one that was minted back in 1968, that could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.10 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.1 million. So, if you've got a 1968 penny, sit tight, because today might just be your lucky day. Now, before we start imagining what kind of mansion you could buy with that kind of money, let's take a step back and figure out what makes this penny so valuable. It all begins with the mint mark. You see, Most coins have a little letter stamped on them that indicates where they were made. Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. But the penny we're talking about today, the 1968 Lincoln penny, is not just any regular coin. It was produced in San Francisco, but here's the kicker. It's what's called a proof coin. Proof coins are made with special care, intended for collectors, not for circulation. They're like the creme de la creme of coins. And here's where it gets interesting. In 1968, the San Francisco Mint accidentally released a few proof pennies into circulation. Most of the time, proof coins are kept in sets and are carefully handled by collectors. But these babies, with their sharp details and mirror-like finish, slipped right into your pocket change. If you happen to find one of those rare 1968 proof pennies in circulation and held onto it, well, you might just be looking at a small fortune today. Now, let's talk about the condition. The more pristine the coin, the more valuable it is. Coins that are graded as proof are worth more than your average penny. But if you're lucky enough to have one that's in mint condition, meaning no scratches, no blemishes, just that flawless, shiny look, then congratulations. You've got yourself a valuable piece of history. We're talking about $1.1 million in today's market. Of course, not every 1968 penny will fetch that insane price, but some have. The better the condition and the more rare it is, the higher the value. So how do you know if you've got a $1.1 million penny sitting in your jar right now? Well, first, check for that mint mark. You'll want to see an S right behind Abraham Lincoln's bust. Next, give it a good look over. If it's got that proof-like finish, you're in business. If it's worn down or has been bouncing around in your pocket for years, it's probably worth closer to the standard penny value. But still, it's worth a glance. Here's a funny story for you. I remember finding an old penny in my change and I thought, hey, maybe this is the one. I ran straight to my computer, Googled 1968 penny, and then, after hours of research and excitement, I found out it was a regular old penny from my own collection. I'd been holding on to a 1972 penny the entire time. Classic rookie mistake, right? But hey, it was a fun little adventure, and that's the beauty of collecting. You never know what you might find now. I know what you're thinking. Okay, cool. I've got the right mint mark, but how do I know if mine's worth anything? That's where professional grading comes in. Grading companies will carefully assess your coin, give it a rating based on its condition, and tell you just how much it's worth. There are a few key grading scales to know about, but don't worry, we'll dive deeper into that in future videos. Just know that getting a coin professionally graded can help you get top dollar when you sell or trade it. But let's be real for a second. Just because you've got a 1968 penny doesn't mean it's an instant gold mine. The coin market is tricky, and things like rarity, condition, and demand all play a part in determining the price. But hey, if you've got one of these coins and you're holding on to it, it might be time to get it appraised. So, what did we learn today? That a 1968 penny, minted with that special proof finish, could be worth way more than you think. If you happen to have one of these rare coins, congratulations. You could be sitting on a small fortune. If not, don't sweat it. Keep hunting, keep looking through your change, and who knows, you might just find the next big discovery. If you've enjoyed this video and you want more tips on how to find coins worth big money, strategies for grading, and how to make your own coin collection a valuable treasure chest, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now go out there, check those pennies, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next coin collector to make headlines with $1 million discovery. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Really? It's just a penny. But wait, before you start throwing your pocket change into the wishing well of meh, let me drop a little nugget of info that could blow your mind. Did you know that there's a penny out there? A 1998 penny? No mint mark, that's worth over $1 million? Yep, you heard me right, $1 million. Imagine having a pocket full of pennies, walking around like you're some kind of average Joe, and you've got one of these hidden gems. Well, I don't know about you, but that could seriously change your lunch plans for the week, right? So stick around because I'm about to walk you through everything you need to know about this crazy rare coin and how it could make you a millionaire, maybe without even knowing it. Okay, let's get into it. So the 1998 penny with no mint mark isn't your average change. In fact, It's so rare that when one surfaced, it got people talking and scrambling to check their spare change. But how in the world does a coin that was made over 25 years ago suddenly have a price tag that high? Well, here's the scoop. Back in 1998, the US Mint usually stamps pennies with either a P or D mint mark to show where they were made, Philadelphia or Denver. But for some bizarre reason, there are a handful of 1998 pennies floating around that don't have a mint mark at all. And guess what? That tiny little detail can make all the difference in the world when it comes to value. You see, when the mint went to make these pennies, they made a huge mistake by accidentally leaving the mint mark off some of the coins. And boom, a rare error was born. These pennies are like the unicorns of the coin world. Not only is it super rare, but it's in high demand. So if you come across one, you could be sitting on a serious gold mine. Now, if you're wondering how much a 1998 penny without a mint mark can actually sell for, let's talk numbers. If you're lucky enough to find one, it could be worth as much as $1.2 million. Yeah, I know, it's almost too good to be true, right? But it's real. These coins have been auctioned off for crazy amounts, and it looks like the price is only going up because collectors want them bad. You might be thinking, okay, how do I know if I have one? Take a good look at your pennies. If you have a 1998 penny and it's missing the mint mark, you've got yourself something rare. But be careful, folks. There are a lot of counterfeit coins out there. So make sure you're getting it authenticated if you think you have the real deal. Now, here's the kicker. I had a moment a few years ago, not too long after I got into coins, where I thought I was sitting on a small fortune. I found an old, crusty penny in my couch cushions. I was all excited, thinking, this is it. This is my ticket to the big leagues. I raced to check it online, my hands shaking. Turns out it was a 1982 penny. Well, I don't know if you've heard, but that's not the jackpot I was hoping for. It was a copper-plated penny, and it wasn't worth much. Long story short, I had to put my dreams of a Lamborghini on hold for a while. So, I get it if you're excited, but remember, doing your research and checking for authenticity is key. That lesson cost me a few weeks of daydreaming about my new life. But hey, we live and learn. So, if you find a 1998 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it into your jar or leave it in your car's cup holder like I did with that 1982 penny. It could be worth a lot more than you think. And hey, it's not just pennies. There are all kinds of coins worth serious cash out there. I'm talking rare quarters, dimes, and even nickels that could turn your pocket change into a small fortune. If you want more tips on how to spot coins that could make you some serious money, then you're definitely going to want to stick around and hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of content on rare coins, how to find them, and how to make sure you're not leaving money on the table. Plus, we'll have some fun along the way because let's face it, coin collecting can be pretty thrilling once you get into it. So, what are you waiting for? Grab that magnifying glass, go through your spare change, and who knows? Maybe that next penny you find will be worth more than a cup of coffee. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to hit subscribe for more coin tips and tricks. So, how would you feel if you found a penny that could make you a millionaire? Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, what if I told you that a 2018 D. Abraham Lincoln penny is worth a whopping $1.3 million? Yup, you heard me right. A penny worth more than a brand new car, or even a luxury vacation to some exotic island. And I know, pennies are usually something we toss aside without a second thought. But trust me, this particular penny, it's got a story to tell that might just make you look at your spare change differently. So, stay tuned, and let's dive into the fascinating world of rare pennies. Because this is one of those you'll never guess where the treasure is moments. Alright, let's break this down. When you hear 2018 D penny, you might think, oh, that's just another penny from the mint. No big deal. But what if I told you that not every 2018 D penny is created equal? Some of these bad boys are hiding a secret, and I'm not talking about how much lint is in your pocket. Nope, I'm talking about something called a minting error. And if you get lucky enough to find one of these rare mistakes, it could be worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your college education combined. So, here's the deal. The 2018 D penny that I'm talking about has a super rare minting flaw. This penny has a double die error that makes the letters and numbers on the coin appear, well, a bit too bold. It's like someone was really excited to stamp the coin. But oops, they hit the die twice instead of once, and boom. A mistake that's actually worth big bucks. Not only does the minting error make this penny super special, but it's also been officially recognized by coin experts, making it even more sought after. Now, this is where it gets interesting. How in the world do I know if I've got one of these million-dollar coins hiding in my pocket? Well, here's where the detective work comes in. First, check the year 2018. Easy enough, right? Then, take a magnifying glass or use your phone's camera to zoom in on the Liberty and "In God We Trust" lettering on the coin. If you see a double defect, then you might just have a potential gold mine on your hands. But here's the thing. Not every 2018 D penny with this error is worth $1 million. Some of them are worth just a few $100s, or maybe even less. The ones that hit the big bucks are the ones that have perfect condition and a strong, noticeable doubling error. Condition is key here. So if it's been rolling around in the bottom of your pocket or hanging out in your change jar, it may not be worth quite as much as the perfect ones. But don't lose hope. If you find one, it's definitely worth getting it appraised. Now, let me tell you about a personal experience that will have you laughing. I remember the first time I heard about coins being worth more than their face value. I was a kid, and my grandma had this old jar of coins that she swore had a treasure hidden somewhere in there. So, being the curious and somewhat overconfident kid that I went to work, sifting through this jar like I was Indiana Jones. I pulled out pennies, dimes, quarters, and nothing. Zilch. It wasn't until years later that I realized I had been holding onto a few rare coins that could have been worth something. Needless to say, I kicked myself for not doing more research back then. So don't make the same mistake I did. Check your coins now. You never know when you'll come across a rare find. Alright, back to the 2018 D penny. The bottom line is, this coin is hot in the market, and if you're lucky enough to find one with that double die error, you could be sitting on a gold mine. Just don't go spending it thinking it's just another penny. So, what's the takeaway here? Keep your eyes peeled. Folks, that pocket change you've been tossing aside could have the potential to change your life. A penny here, a dime there. You just never know which one could be worth more than its weight in gold. And if you're anything like me, you're going to start looking at your spare change a little differently from now on. But don't worry, I'll be here with more tips, tricks, and treasure hunting advice to help you spot those hidden gems. If you want to stay ahead of the curve on coins worth big money, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Trust me, you won't want to miss what I've got coming next. Keep on searching, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find that next million-dollar penny in your pocket. How much do you think a penny is worth? I know, it's only 1 cent, right? But let me tell you, there's a penny out there that might just blow your mind. What if I told you a penny, yes, a penny, could be worth a whopping $1.4 million? Sounds like a fairy tale, doesn't it? But it's true. Stick around, because today we're diving into the rare and fascinating 2001 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and I promise, by the end of this video, you'll be looking at pennies with a whole new set of eyes. Alright, so let's set the stage. We're talking about the 2001 penny, but not just any 2001 penny. Nope, this is a special one. It's the no-mint mark variety. You're probably scratching your head right now, thinking, wait a minute, all pennies have a mint mark, right? Well, not always. Let me break it down for you. Normally, US pennies have a mint mark either in D for Denver or in S for San Francisco, which indicates where they were minted. But in 2001, something strange happened. A small number of pennies were produced at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark at all. This happened because in 2001, the mint wasn't using mint marks on pennies that came from Philadelphia. Well, for most of the year, anyway. Now, why does this matter? Mint marks are kind of like a little secret signature on a coin. They tell collectors where the coin came from, which helps with rarity and, therefore, value. If you find one of these 2001 no-mint mark pennies in your pocket change, you're holding something pretty rare. Let me share a quick personal story here. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old coins I had lying around. I had a whole jar of pennies from my childhood, probably filled with nothing but the usual worn-out, shiny copper pennies. And then, guess what? I found a 2001 penny that looked a little different. It didn't have the mint mark. I almost tossed it back in with the rest, thinking it was just another run-of-the-mill coin. But then, I remembered hearing about the 2001 no mint mark penny and thought, what the heck? Let me look it up. Well, folks, let me tell you, I nearly fainted. I learned that some of these pennies, just like the one I had, can be worth a lot. Some of them are being sold for over $1 million, depending on their condition. And that, my friends, is why you shouldn't overlook pennies. You just never know when you might be sitting on a tiny treasure chest in your pocket. Now, let's talk about why this penny is worth so much. It's all about the rarity. The 2001 no mint mark penny was never supposed to be there in the first place. In fact, only a few of them actually made it into circulation, and those are the ones that have a serious market value today. The idea that something so small, so seemingly insignificant, could hold such a huge value is pretty mind-blowing, right? You might be wondering, okay, so if I find one of these pennies, how do I know it's worth something? Well, the condition is key. Like most collectibles, the better shape it's in, the more valuable it becomes. A 2001 no mint mark penny in mint condition, where it looks almost brand new, can fetch top dollar. Some of these coins, if they're graded well and in pristine condition, can easily be worth around $1.4 million. Yes, you heard me right. $1 million for a single penny. But here's the thing, folks. Just finding a 2001 no mint mark penny doesn't mean you're automatically in the money. You've got to get it graded by a professional to know its true value. Coins are graded on a scale, ranging from good to mint state. And the higher the grade, the higher the price tag. I know, you're probably asking yourself, but what are the chances I'll actually find one of these coins? The odds aren't exactly in your favor, but don't be discouraged. People find rare coins all the time, often when they least expect it. It's kind of like finding a hidden gem in a junkyard. And if you happen to find one, well, you've hit the jackpot. So, what's the takeaway here? First off, don't underestimate the power of a penny. If you've got some change lying around, take a minute to sift through it, because who knows, you might just have a 2001 no mint mark penny sitting right under your nose, ready to make you a millionaire. And second, the coin world is full of hidden treasures, and this is just one of many. If you want more tips on how to spot coins that are worth more than their face value, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. You never know, the next treasure could be waiting for you right in your pocket. If you like this video and want to learn more about coins that could be worth a ton of money, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and ring that bell so you don't miss out on any future tips. And hey, if you've ever found a rare coin or know someone who has, share your story in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most valuable things come in the smallest packages. You ever find a penny on the street and think, what if this is worth more than just 1 cent? Well, I've got a juicy nugget of info for you today. You've probably heard of rare coins worth crazy money, but today we're talking about something that could have you digging through your change jar for hidden gold. Or in this case, a very rare Abraham Lincoln penny from 2013. Yup, that's right, a penny. But not just any penny. A 2013 penny that was never even minted with a mint mark, and right now, it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this some sort of magic penny that'll make me rich if I find one? Well, not exactly, but stick with me, because we're going to dive deep into why this penny is so special and how it went from being just a loose coin to one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. So, first off, let's talk about what a mint mark is and why it's missing on this particular penny. When the U.S. Treasury mints coins, they usually stamp a little mark on them to tell you where they were made. Most coins have a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco, or a P for Philadelphia. But the 2013 Abraham Lincoln penny? Well, some of them, by sheer mistake, had no mint mark at all. This tiny little flaw turned into a huge deal in the world of coin collecting, and before you know it, people started to pay top dollar for these little guys. Now, you might be thinking, why does a missing letter make a penny worth $1 million? Good question. You see, the U.S. Mint, back in 2013, had a pretty standard routine. They stamped the mint mark on every penny. But for some unknown reason, a small number of pennies were produced without it. And when that happened, a few collectors started noticing. It was like discovering a hidden treasure in a pile of regular, everyday coins. Think of it like this. Imagine if you found a rare Pokemon card, but it wasn't just any card, it was a misprint. Suddenly, that mistake becomes gold. Now, this isn't like finding a rare coin on every street corner. In fact, these 2013 pennies without the mint mark are super hard to find. There are only a few in circulation, and that's why they're so valuable. The rarity and demand for these coins are what pushed their value to where it is today, around $1.5 million. I mean, come on. How many of you would love to wake up one day and discover you've got a little piece of history worth a fortune? Pretty wild, huh? This actually reminds me of the time I found a coin in my own pocket that I thought was a mistake. I'm at a coffee shop, just doing my usual thing, and I get back my change, a handful of coins. I don't usually pay much attention to them, but this time I decided to give them a quick look. One of them caught my eye. It was a weird-looking dime, slightly bent and scratched up. I thought, this must be a misprint. So, naturally, I did what any normal person would do. I Googled it. Turns out, it was nothing special, just a regular, worn-out dime. But the whole process got me. What if it had been rare? What if it had been one of those coins worth millions? I didn't get $1 million from it, but hey, it sparked my curiosity about rare coins, and now I'm all about learning the tricks to spot hidden treasures in your pocket change. And that's exactly what I want to share with you today. The strategies and knowledge to help you identify coins worth more than face value. Whether it's a rare penny or something else, you don't want to miss out on these opportunities. So, what have we learned today? First, a 2013 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark could very well make you a millionaire, if you're lucky enough to find one. Second, you don't have to be a professional coin collector to start spotting valuable coins. You just need to know what to look for. And finally, even if you don't have that $1.5 million penny in your pocket right now, there are still plenty of rare coins out there waiting to be discovered. If you want more tips on spotting coins worth money, getting the inside scoop on rare finds, and staying up to date with the latest coin news, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of info, stories, and strategies to help you make the most out of your coin collection. Trust me, the next rare coin might be right under your nose or in your change jar. Hey there, treasure hunters. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, meh, just a penny? Well, let me tell you something that might make you dive into that spare change jar like it's a pot of gold. Today, we're talking about a humble little coin that could be worth $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny worth $1 million. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. It's the 1978 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll be rifling through your change like a squirrel looking for its favorite nut. And hey, if you're not a coin collector yet, this story might just make you one. Let's get into it. What's the deal with the 1978 no mint mark penny? Okay, so here's the scoop. The 1978 Abraham Lincoln penny is your standard issue 1-cent coin, or so it seems. It was minted in Philadelphia, which traditionally doesn't use a mint mark on its coins. But here's the kicker. A small batch of these pennies came out with some major flaws. And in the world of coin collecting, flaws don't mean oops. They mean jackpot. What kind of flaws, you ask? Some of these pennies were accidentally struck on the wrong metal planchets. That means they're lighter, shinier, or just plain weird. Others have double strikes, meaning the design looks like it had one too many cups of coffee. These rare errors are what make collectors go absolutely bananas and throw out big bucks. Like $1 million big. They love a good story. And this penny has one. Back in the 70s, quality control at the Philadelphia Mint wasn't exactly NASA level, and a few quirky coins slipped through. For decades, these pennies were hiding in plain sight, jingling around in pockets, being tossed into vending machines, and lost under couch cushions. Fast forward to today, and the rare surviving pennies are worth a fortune because they're almost impossible to find. It's like finding a four-leaf clover in a forest, except this clover can buy you a mansion. Now, before you start dumping your piggy bank on the floor, let me help you know what to look for. First, grab a magnifying glass, because these details are tiny. You're looking for no mint mark if there's a D or S under the date. It's not the one. Wait. A genuine 1978 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, that's a sign. Errors: look for double strikes, off-center designs, or unusual coloring. And if you find one, don't clean it. I know the temptation to shine it up is strong, but collectors love the original, circulated look. Think of it as vintage charm. Let me tell you about the time I thought I hit the jackpot. A few months ago, I found an old penny while cleaning out my car. I got so excited thinking it was one of these rare coins. I even weighed it on my kitchen scale, held it under the brightest light I could find, and Googled 1978 penny worth millions, like my life depended on it. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. But hey, for a few glorious minutes, I was mentally spending my imaginary fortune on a yacht. The point is, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun. And who knows? You might actually get lucky. Let's talk numbers. The rarest versions of this penny have sold at auctions for up to $1 million. Why so high? It's simple: supply and demand. Collectors are willing to shell out serious cash for coins that complete their collections or tell an amazing story. And even if your 1978 penny isn't the one, slightly rare versions can still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars. That's a pretty good return on investment for something you found under your couch cushions. All right, my fellow coin enthusiasts, that's the story of the 1978 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A tiny piece of copper that could turn your pocket change into life-changing money. Now, it's your turn to join the treasure hunt. Go check your drawers, jars, and maybe even your grandma's coin collection. Who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune and not even know it. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I post tips on coins worth money, fun facts about rare finds, and strategies to make your collecting hobby profitable. And hey, share this video with a friend. You never know who might stumble upon the next $1 million penny. Imagine this. You're rummaging through your car's cup holder or digging in your old coin jar, and suddenly, you stumble upon a plain-looking penny. No mint mark, no sparkle, just a simple Abraham Lincoln penny. Nothing special, right? Wrong. That tiny, unassuming coin could be worth $1.1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny could make you a millionaire. Stick around, because today we're diving into the fascinating story of the 2006 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, and how you could be sitting on a fortune without even knowing it. Let's get into it. First things first. What's the deal with mint marks? For those of you who are new to coin collecting, a mint mark is a little letter on a coin that tells you where it was made. For example, pennies made in Philadelphia have no mint mark, while Denver gets a D and San Francisco gets an S. But here's the kicker. Our star today, the 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, has become a collector's dream, and not just because of where it was minted. This penny is so rare because of a unique error during production. Picture this. It's 2006, and at the US Mint, someone probably had one job. A misstep in the minting process created a small batch of these pennies without the intended details. Normally, errors make coins less valuable, but in this case, they made the coin a legend. In the right condition, this penny has been sold at auctions for up to $1.1 million. That's like finding a Lamborghini in your pocket. Now, I'll let you in on a personal story. A few years back, I was cleaning out my desk drawer. You know, that black hole where random receipts, paper clips, and ancient gum wrappers go to die. I found a penny. It had no mint mark, and I got excited. I thought, could this be the one? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. It was just a regular penny. But hey, it gave me an excuse to dive deeper into coin collecting. And now I know what to look for. So how can you spot a 2006 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's worth a fortune? First, you'll want to check the coin's condition. If it's pristine, like it just rolled off the mint press, it's called MS-67 in collector lingo. Those are the ones that fetch the big bucks. Second, look closely for unique details that confirm its authenticity, and if in doubt, take it to an expert or get it professionally graded. Here's the kicker about the current market. Demand for rare coins like this is skyrocketing. More collectors are entering the game, which means prices are climbing. Even if you don't find the $1 million penny, some 2006 no-mint mark pennies in lesser conditions are still worth hundreds or thousands. So, what's stopping you? Go check your couch cushions, your old wallets, or even your grandma's coin jar. You never know. Your path to $1.1 million could be hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this little treasure hunt and want to learn more about coins that could make you rich, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty of tips, tricks, and strategies to help you turn spare change into serious cash. Share this video with your friends, too. Who knows, you might be helping someone else discover their million-dollar penny. We're diving deep into one of the most surprising treasures you might have lying around in your pocket change. The legendary 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yeah, you heard that right. This unassuming little coin is worth up to a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. Yes, million. If that doesn't make you want to check under your couch cushions, I don't know what will. Stick around because I'm not just going to tell you why it's so valuable, but I'll also share tips on spotting these gems and a hilarious personal story about how I almost missed out on my own coin treasure. Let's kick things off with the basics. Why is this particular penny so valuable? Well, the 1993 Lincoln penny without a mint mark is an error coin. Normally, pennies made in Philadelphia don't have a mint mark, but this one has a very unique twist. It was struck on a rare planchet, likely intended for another coin type altogether. This error resulted in a one-of-a-kind piece of currency that collectors go absolutely wild for. And when coin collectors go wild, the price tag skyrockets. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if I've got the golden, or should I say copper, ticket? No mint mark beneath the date, a strange weight, slightly lighter or heavier than a regular penny. Super crisp details on Lincoln's profile. Now, the best part of this story is how these coins get discovered. Here's where things get personal. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old piggy bank from my childhood. Don't judge me, we all had one. Anyway, I found a coin that looked a bit different. At first, I thought it was just dirty, but then I noticed the missing mint mark. I Googled it and nearly passed out when I read that these pennies could be worth a fortune. Spoiler alert, mine wasn't the million-dollar version, but it was still worth a sweet $500. Now, you might be wondering why someone would pay millions for a penny. It's because collectors love rarity and history. They'll shell out big bucks for something unique. So, if you think a 1993 penny without a mint mark is just a penny, think again. It's like finding a lottery ticket you didn't know you had. Let's talk market value. As of today, a 1993 no mint mark penny in pristine condition, graded as a mess, 67 or higher, is valued at $1.2 million. Yep, that's enough to buy a house, a fancy car, or, a lifetime supply of snacks. Coins in slightly lower grades still fetch thousands, so even if yours isn't perfect, it's worth having it appraised. The market is also filled with fakes. If you think you found one, get it verified by a professional coin grader. Trust me, you don't want to be that person who sells $1 million coin for pocket change, or worse, buys a fake. The 1993 no-mint mark Lincoln penny might just be hiding in plain sight, waiting to change your life. If this story inspired you to rummage through your coin jar, let me know in the comments. And hey, don't forget to share this video with your friends. They deserve a shot at becoming coin millionaires too. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more coin tips, tricks, and strategies for finding treasures worth big bucks. Who knows? Next time, we might uncover another hidden gem right under your nose, or, well, in your pocket. You're cleaning out an old jar of pennies and bam, you stumble upon a coin that's worth more than a Lamborghini. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, buckle up, because today we're diving into the incredible story of the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right, a penny. Stick around because I'll break down what makes this coin so special, how to spot one, and how you might already have one sitting in your pocket. Plus, I'll share a hilarious story about the time I almost threw away a coin worth hundreds of dollars. Spoiler alert, I nearly cried. What's the big deal about the 1994 no-mint mark penny? Alright, let's get into it. The 1994 Lincoln penny is your standard, everyday coin. Until it isn't. What sets this one apart is that it's missing a mint mark. Normally, pennies from 1994 would have a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But this one? Nada. Zip. Nothing. Why is that important? Mint marks tell us where a coin was made, and missing one can indicate a minting error. Collectors go absolutely bonkers for errors like this, especially when they're rare. And the 1994 no mint mark penny? It's like the unicorn of coin collecting. Only a handful are known to exist, and that scarcity is what makes it so insanely valuable. Coins are stamped at the mint with special dies. Occasionally, someone forgets to include the mint mark on the die, or there's a slip-up during the process. In 1994, a small batch of pennies slipped through without their mint marks. Nobody noticed until much later, when collectors realized they were holding something special. Think of it like finding a misprinted baseball card or a rare first edition book. It's a one-in-a-million mistake, and collectors are willing to shell out big bucks to own a piece of that history. How to spot one in your collection now? Here's where you come in. Grab that jar of pennies collecting dust in the corner. The date, 1994, on the front. No mint mark below the date. A shiny, clean surface. Condition matters big time. If you think you found one, don't go spending it at the gas station just yet. Get it verified by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll confirm its authenticity and grade its condition, which affects its value. Okay, story time. A few years ago, I was sorting through my change like a total nerd. Don't judge. And I found a penny that looked different. It was old, had no mint mark, and I thought, cool. I almost tossed it back into the jar, but something told me to double-check. Turns out, it was a rare 1922 no D Lincoln penny worth about $500. I was this close to losing out. Moral of the story? Check your change, people. You never know what's hiding in plain sight. Current market value of the 1994 no mint mark penny. The value. A pristine 1994 no mint mark penny recently sold for an eye-popping $1.3 million at auction. That's right, enough to buy a house, pay off student loans, or take a year-long vacation in paradise. Even if yours isn't in mint condition, it could still fetch thousands. So, don't sleep on this opportunity. All right, coin enthusiasts, that's the scoop on the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Who knew something so small could be worth so much? Before you go digging through your couch cushions, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. I'll be sharing more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth big money. Don't miss out. You never know when your spare change might make you rich. Thanks for watching, and remember, every coin tells a story. What's yours? Now go check your coins, and let me know in the comments if you find anything cool. And hey, if you do find a 1994 no mint mark penny, don't forget who gave you the tip. You're digging through your pocket change, maybe after grabbing your morning coffee, and you find a plain old penny. But what if I told you that penny could be worth $1.4 million? Yeah, that's right. A little Lincoln cent, the 1988 no mint mark penny, could be the golden ticket hiding in your spare change jar. Now, if you're anything like me, you're already eyeballing that pile of coins on your counter. Stay tuned, because today we're diving into everything you need to know about this incredible find, how it reached such astronomical value, and what to look for in your own collection. All right, let's break this down. The 1988 no mint mark penny isn't your average copper-coated coin. At first glance, it looks just like any other Lincoln penny from that year. Honestly, kind of boring, right? But here's the kicker. A few of these pennies were struck with a rare error, and collectors are going nuts over them. Now, here's the fun part. Back in 1988, the U.S. Mint was churning out millions of pennies, and somewhere in that process, a small number of coins ended up with the wrong die. Translation. The way these pennies were stamped wasn't quite right, giving them unique characteristics that make collectors' jaws drop. And because these errors are so rare, they're worth big bucks, like $1.4 million big. Here's how you can tell if you've got a potential millionaire in your hands. Flip that penny over and look just below the date. If there's no mint mark, a little letter that tells you where it was made, you're on the right track. Pay close attention to the designer's initials, FG, on the reverse side of the penny. They should look sharp and crisp. If they're faint or missing altogether, you might be holding a rare error coin. Coins in mint or near mint condition fetch the highest prices. If your penny looks like it survived a war, it's probably not going to make you a millionaire. But hey, it's still worth checking out. Let me share a quick story. A few months ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her old jewelry box. You know, the one with random keepsakes from decades ago. We stumbled upon a tiny pouch filled with pennies. At first, I was like, oh great, more coins to roll. But then, I spotted a 1988 penny. My heart skipped a beat as I examined it, but alas, it wasn't the one. Still, it sparked my obsession with hunting down rare coins. And let me tell you, it's become my new favorite hobby. I've even roped my grandma into it. So, why are people willing to shell out $1.4 million for a penny? It all comes down to supply and demand. The fewer coins like this exist, the more collectors are willing to pay. Plus, there's something magical about holding a piece of history that's both ordinary and extraordinary at the same time. It's like finding a four-leaf clover, or better yet, winning the lottery. All right, folks, now it's your turn. Take a good, hard look at your pennies. You never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. And hey, if you strike gold, or copper, in this case, don't forget who told you about it. If you love uncovering hidden gems, learning cool coin facts, or just want more tips on how to turn your spare change into serious cash, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. I'll keep bringing you stories about coins that are worth way more than you'd expect, along with tips and tricks to grow your collection. Thanks for tuning in, and happy treasure hunting. Who knows, your next cup of coffee might come with a side of $1.4 million. All right, you guys are not going to believe this, but I've got a penny in my hand worth more than most cars. I mean, who knew a little copper circle could be worth $1.5 million? Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't your grandma's pocket change. Stick around because today we're diving into the 2020 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, this one's a doozy. Cut to close-up of the penny, maybe a shot of it spinning or zooming in on the details. Seriously, this penny right here might just be sitting in your jar of change, in your couch cushions, or even tucked away in your old coin collection. But you won't believe what this little guy could be worth. So grab a seat. Maybe check your pockets. Who knows? You could be sitting on a small fortune. Cut to a wider shot, you leaning in slightly as if about to spill some secret info. So, let's talk about why this penny could be worth a staggering $1.5 million. Sounds a little wild, right? It's just a penny, after all. But here's the deal. This particular penny was made in 2020 at the Denver Mint, and something went a little off during production. Turns out, a small error in the minting process left behind pennies with a double die issue, meaning the design was stamped twice. And let me tell you, this kind of error is a huge deal in the coin collecting world. Cut to an image of a double die coin with a visible double stamp. Here's what that looks like. See how the lines are a little more defined, and the details seem to repeat. That's the double die effect, and it makes this penny super rare and valuable. You'd think people would spot this mistake easily, right? But with thousands of pennies being minted every day, some of these slip through the cracks, just waiting to be found. I mean, who even looks at pennies that closely? I remember I used to throw them into a jar without a second thought. But then, I was watching a video about rare coins, and this double die thing came up. So, I went through my change jar one night and boom, I found a penny with a weird, blurry 9 in the year. Turns out, it wasn't the same thing, but that moment still got me thinking. What if I had found a penny worth $1 million? Anyway, getting back to the 2020 Mint Mark penny. If you've got one with that double die, and it's in pristine condition, we're talking big bucks. Like, seriously big. I mean, we're talking a coin worth around $1.5 million. Yeah, I know, your brain's probably like, wait, did he just say $1.5 million? Yep, you heard right. Cut to a fun, quick animation showing a bunch of pennies turning into dollar bills and then stacks of money. Now, not every 2020 penny is going to be worth $1 million. The condition matters a lot. If your penny is scratched, dirty, or been through the washer, well, it's probably not going to get you much. But if it's in near-perfect shape, you're looking at a potential gold mine. So, what should you do if you think you've found one? First, don't just go tossing it on eBay. We'll talk about how to actually get it appraised and sold in just a second. Cut to you, getting comfortable in a chair, now chatting more casually. And let me tell you, I know what it's like to get too excited about finding something valuable in your change jar. A few months ago, I thought I had found a rare coin worth thousands of dollars. I was ready to retire early and live like a king on my pile of coins. Turns out, it wasn't worth anything close to what I thought. But hey, it was still a fun experiment, right? So, how do you go about checking if your 2020D penny is really the golden ticket? Here's the rundown. First, check the mint mark. Look for that D under the date on the front of Abraham Lincoln's face. If it's there, it's from the Denver Mint. Then, look for that double die error. Is the image on the coin blurry or doubled? It's a little tricky to spot if you're new to this, but don't worry. We've got more tips coming up. Make sure to check the condition of your penny. If it's been used for anything other than being admired in a coin holder, it might not fetch top dollar. But hey, even a worn-out one could still be worth a decent chunk of change compared to a regular penny. And here's where things get fun. If you really think your penny could be worth big bucks, get it appraised by a professional. So, what's the bottom line here? Your 2020D Mint Mark penny could potentially be worth way more than you think, especially if it's got that double die error. Don't just toss it in the jar without checking it first. Who knows? You could have a small fortune waiting for you. Now, before you run off to search through your change, I've got to ask, have you subscribed yet? Because if you like finding treasure in your pockets, then you'll want to stick around for more coin tips and money-making strategies. I've got plenty more secrets to share with you. So, hit that subscribe button and let's keep hunting for those hidden gems together. Do you have a penny lying around? You know, the one you toss into your change jar or leave forgotten under the couch cushions? Well, before you casually toss it, hear me out, because that tiny, seemingly worthless penny might just be worth a small fortune. No, seriously. We're talking about a penny that could fetch you up to $1.60 million. Yeah, you heard that right. So, if you've ever wondered if you're sitting on a gold mine in your pocket change, keep watching because I'm about to blow your mind. Alright, let's get into it. So, what's the deal with this legendary 1991 penny? Well, let's take a little trip back to 1991. No, I'm not talking about the year you were probably rocking out to Nirvana or worrying about dial-up internet. We're talking about a special penny that was minted without the usual mint mark. A penny that had an O mint mark now. In case you're wondering, what's the big deal with a mint mark? Well, mint marks are tiny little letters on coins that tell you where they were made. They usually appear on the front side, near Abraham Lincoln's chin. Don't ask me why it's there, I have no idea. The mint mark tells us whether the coin was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But this 1991 penny? Nope. No mint mark. Nada. Zip.so. How in the world does a coin with no mint mark become so valuable? Well, here's where the story gets interesting. You see, in 1991, the US Mint was producing pennies like it was going out of style, and there was a mix-up. Some of those pennies got produced at the Philadelphia Mint without the usual P mint mark on them. These mistakes were so rare that they didn't even realize what they'd done until later. Imagine this. Everyone's going about their business, enjoying their pennies, not thinking much of them. Fast forward a few years, and people start noticing something odd. The 1991 penny with no mint mark is missing from their collections. Well, people who pay close attention to these things, that is, word got out and coin collectors went wild. So, what happens when something rare and valuable shows up on the market? You guessed it, demand skyrockets. But here's the kicker. There are only a handful of these mint markless 1991 pennies out there, and because they're so rare, their value has gone through the roof. Now, you're probably wondering, how much is it worth? Are we talking a few bucks? Maybe 20 or 50? Nope. Try $1.60 million. That's right, one coin. The size of a postage stamp could be worth over $1 million. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. A 1991 no-mint mark penny sold at auction for an eye-popping $1.6 million. It's the stuff of coin collector legends, like finding a unicorn in your backyard or discovering that your childhood Beanie Baby collection is now worth a fortune. It's a rarity jackpot. So, here's the deal. If you have a 1991 penny with no mint mark, get it checked out. And I mean seriously checked out, because you might have the coin that could change your life. Now, before you start rummaging through your coin jar, let me tell you this. Finding one of these pennies isn't easy. It's a rare mistake that makes it so valuable. But hey, if you find one, don't just toss it aside. Here's a funny story to lighten the mood. A few years ago, I found what I thought was a rare penny in my change. I was like, oh man, this is going to be my ticket to an early retirement. I was convinced it was special. I did all the research, looked up its mint year, even checked for the mint mark. It looked good, I thought, until I took it to a professional coin grader. Turns out my rare penny was just a regular one, and I learned a valuable lesson. Don't get too excited until you have it properly authenticated. But that's the fun part of this hobby, right? The thrill of the hunt, the excitement of possibly uncovering a hidden treasure, and the satisfaction of learning something new along the way. So, if you're going through your pocket change right now thinking you've struck gold, well, maybe you have. But remember, not every penny is going to make you a millionaire. However, now that you know about the 1991 no mint mark penny, you've got a new thing to look for next time you get your hands on some change. And hey, if you're into coins and want more tips on rare finds and hidden treasures, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Don't miss out on all the cool info we've got coming up. Who knows, the next coin we talk about could be worth enough to buy you a fancy coffee. Or maybe even an island. Okay, maybe not an island, but you get the idea. Now, I know what you're thinking. A penny? Worth $1,000,000? Yeah, right? But let me tell you, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about it if it wasn't true. In fact, if you've got a 1980 penny with no mint mark lying around in your collection, you might just have the kind of unexpected windfall that could make you think, maybe my grandpa wasn't such a crazy hoarder after all. So grab that penny jar, and let's talk about the 1980 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's got some people laughing all the way to the bank. Now, let's get down to business. First things first, you're probably wondering, what exactly makes this particular penny so special? I mean, it's a 1980 penny, right? How exciting can a penny from 1980 be? Well, buckle up because this penny's story is way more interesting than you might think. Typically, when you look at your everyday pennies, you'll see a mint mark, or lack thereof, that tells you where it was made. Most pennies minted in 1980 came from either the Philadelphia Mint, which has no mint mark, or the Denver Mint, which has a small D mint mark. But here's where things get juicy. In 1980, a small number of pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint with absolutely no mint mark, and no, that's not an error. It's a rare anomaly. You see, most collectors and dealers knew that the standard 1980 penny from the Philadelphia Mint would either have a mint mark or not have one, just like it was supposed to. But some pennies, somewhere along the line, slipped through the cracks and didn't have that little P, D, or any mint mark at all. And it wasn't long before eagle-eyed collectors began to notice the missing mint marks, and boy, they sure went wild over it. This is no small potato we're talking about. A 1980 penny with no mint mark, especially one in pristine condition, has been known to fetch some seriously hefty amounts. As of the latest estimates, one of these coins can go for a whopping $1.7 million at auction. That's right, 1.7 million bucks. All for a coin that's, well, a penny. It's enough to make you wonder what else is hiding in those dusty coin jars your grandma gave you, right? But here's the thing. While the idea of a coin worth that much money might seem out of reach, there's still a lot of value in the pennies you've got at home. The 1980 no mint mark penny is just one example of how a tiny detail, like a missing mint mark, can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into something extraordinary. So, if you've got one of these, get it checked out by an expert. Don't let it just sit there in your collection gathering dust. This penny could be worth more than a few dollars in pocket change. Speaking of collecting coins, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I remember going through my old change jar, the one that's been accumulating coins since the days of dial-up internet. I was looking for something to buy lunch, and I thought I might have a few quarters or a dollar or two hidden in there. I found all kinds of things, foreign coins, pennies from the 70s, and even a random 1980 penny. I didn't think much of it. After all, it was just another 1980 penny. Or so I thought that I showed it to my buddy, who's into coins, and he did a double take. He pulled out his magnifying glass. Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing either, and pointed out that the penny was actually a 1980 no mint mark coin. I almost choked on my soda when he said, "Dude, this could be worth big money." Long story short, I got it appraised, and while it wasn't worth $1.7 million, darn it, I was still able to sell it for a nice little sum. that experience made me realize how much value can be hiding in plain sight. So now, whenever I go through change, I'm looking for those hidden gems, whether it's a rare penny, a weird quarter, or even a misprinted dime. Who knows what you might find? Don't underestimate the power of a penny. A 1980 no mint mark penny could be worth way more than you think. While not every penny will end up worth millions, knowing what to look for can make all the difference in building a collection that could someday pay off big time. Plus, it's just fun to think about what's hiding in your change jar. Before you go off searching through your couch cushions, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got more tips, tricks, and fun stories about coins that could help you unlock hidden treasures right in your own collection. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, I'm here to guide you through the exciting world of rare and valuable coins. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more coin tips that could turn your collection into a fortune.